Wait, you must hear this message before today ends. This is not just a random thought that wandered into your mind. This is a sacred intervention, a breath held still since eternity, just to touch you. You lived this day as usual, as if nothing extraordinary was happening. But behind the veil, something stirred. You are not alone in this moment. Heaven has leaned down, gently but intentionally. And I am an angel, sent by love itself. I have waited for this one moment. And now it has come. You are ready. The message I bring is not to confuse you or burden you, but to lead you home. Toward the truth your soul already knows, the truth your heart has felt many times, even if your mind never fully understood it. Now listen, not with reason, but from that deep place where your true self resides. This message is a living truth, woven into time, carrying a feeling that's been held for 5 years. 5 years. For the past 5 years, someone has kept you in their heart, a love beyond words. Seasons changed, the world moved on, but they stayed. Maybe not consciously every day. Maybe it wasn't always easy, but always with sincerity. They've whispered your name in the silence of nights. Their prayers were not out of fear, but sacred prayers, filled with longing, grace, and a wondrous faith. They thought time might erase these feelings, but your presence still moves them. Their eyes still well up when they suddenly hear your name, when a song, a scent, or a memory of your smile reappears. You've lived freely until now, as if nothing unknown ever lingered. And that's completely okay, because this message is not a blame. It's an invitation to awaken your soul's memory once again. This is not a blame nor a complaint, but today, something awakened within you that deeply touched them. Or perhaps a cry from within them reached straight to you. Whatever it was. One thing is certain. You were meant to hear this message right here, right now. You see, once upon a time, there was a moment, a small one, maybe even unintentional, that changed everything for them. You may not even remember it. Perhaps it was a word, a decision, or your silence when they longed to hear your voice. You never intended to hurt them. Your heart never meant to cause them pain. But for them, it felt like being left alone in the middle of a storm. And yet, they survived. Broken, but still holding on. They kept moving forward, but not without tears. And not without wondering why a connection so close to heaven suddenly felt so distant. They never asked for an apology, but for understanding. A recognition that what they felt was not an illusion, and that the pain they still carry in their heart is not something small. It's still everything to them. And even so, despite the distance, despite all the passing years, they never gave up faith in that sacred bond they once felt with you. This is not just an old memory, not merely a recollection. It is something much deeper. This bond is sacred. It is preordained, chosen on the level of souls, before this very lifetime, and perhaps, as you hear these words, you feel a soft ache in your chest, a pull, a faint pulse, a breath caught in stillness. That is your soul recognizing itself, That moment when they suddenly crossed your mind, you thought it was a coincidence, but heaven called it divine timing. Have you recently seen that dream again? The one where their face reappeared? That subtle ache? The one you can't quite name, but that lingers in your chest like an unfinished melody? It's all real. Every feeling, every sign. They're all part of the same story. The angels have not forgotten this bond. This connection was never broken. It simply went quiet for a while, like a sweet song buried beneath the noise of everyday life. But it's alive, and it's been waiting for healing, for remembrance, and for grace, and now it is opening for you. They never asked the world for signs, yet the signs kept arriving. Numbers, songs, strangers who passed by saying your name. They never asked for proof, yet heaven kept sending it, because love like this is never left unanswered. This love echoes across dimensions, and every whisper reaches them on the wings of angels, exactly where it belongs. You were never just a passerby in their story. You were the chapter, the one they kept rereading, even as the world moved on. And now maybe you're feeling it too, aren't you? That soft trembling in your heart. It's not sadness, it's remembrance. Their soul is speaking to you in every breath of this message, in every heartbeat of time. They have waited in forgiveness, a forgiveness you may have never even known was needed. You owe nothing, you carry no burden, but if something in these words is touching your truth, if something within you is beginning to stir, then maybe your healing starts here too. They have repeated the words you once said, not to cling to them, but to understand. They searched your words for hidden clues, wondering if you too once felt something, but held it back out of fear. There is no bitterness left in them now. Only a tired devotion remains. They no longer reach toward you in longing. They've learned to make space for you instead. A quiet space, sacred, white, patient as eternity, and so gentle that it can hold even silence. If your heart feels heavy as you hear all this, if your eyes have unknowingly welled up with tears, there's a reason. Because your soul is recognizing its own reflection, and that reflection, it was never truly blurred for you, whether you noticed it or not. You've taken many turns in life, joy, sorrow, rebirth. You've seen it all. You changed, and so did they. But the thread that connected you both, it was never broken. The angels saw how they placed your happiness above their pain. They prayed not for your return, but for your peace. That is true love. And that is why heaven allowed this message to reach you. Not to pull you backward, but to show you the light of the truth that was always within you. Some connections don't end. They transform. And through those transformations, they teach us what real love is. You taught them so much, even through your absence. And now, they are teaching you, through their silence, through the grace of letting go, without forgetting. They never wanted to become a shadow of your past. They only wished that if you ever remembered them, it would be with gentleness. Many times, they wanted to ask, "Do you still feel it?" But they didn't, because they placed your freedom above their longing. And that is what makes this bond sacred. And that's why heaven is speaking today, because something within you has begun to remember too. A dream, a scent, a song, the air of a familiar place. Something has opened the door again. It wasn't your intention, but today, you knocked on a memory that is still breathing in someone else's heart, and the angels responded, "Such love never truly dies. It simply waits until the heart grows quiet enough to hear it again." If something like guilt is surfacing in your chest, please let it go. This message is not one of guilt. It is a message of healing. For you, for them, and for all the timelines where this love echoed, unanswered. It is an invitation to honor the beauty that once was, and maybe still is. You don't need to reach out to anyone, unless your heart says so. This is no command. It is a signpost, gently guiding you back to the softness you had forgotten, back to the version of you that was once completely open, unafraid and true, in front of someone who saw you and still sees you, silently, from afar. They still remember the moments you may have long forgotten, not just the big ones, but the little things, like when your eyes softened in laughter, or when you went quiet because something inside you hurt. They've made space even for those parts of you that you once ignored in yourself. Sometimes all a soul needs is to be seen, exactly as it is, and someone still does. When the world saw you as ordinary, they saw the sacred within you. Perhaps that's why they never truly let you go, not with any grasp, not out of attachment, but with reverence. They still hold a silent altar in their heart, in your name, not to worship you, but to thank the universe, that someone like you once touched their soul. Can you see how sacred that is? Can you feel the weight of that devotion, which arose not from expectation, but purely from love? Heaven has seen them, falling, crying, wandering, and yet they kept choosing light over bitterness. They forgave you again and again, not because you asked, but because their love was so true that forgiveness became its natural form. Their forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is divinity. And if today, while reading this, something stirs within you, then maybe your soul too remembers what it feels like to be let go of, without demand, without expectation, just in love. The way love was always meant to be, selfless, eternal, and from the depths of the soul. Now you may be wondering, what am I supposed to do with this message? The answer is simple. Feel it. Let it touch those places within you where doors are still closed, where love still fears to enter. Because even if you never speak to them again, even if your paths forever remain apart, healing still happens in that very moment. When you accept this truth, that your presence left a mark in someone's life, and that mark wasn't pain, it was sacredness. Maybe you never intended to be a spiritual lamp for someone, but you became one, and even now, your light still touches them. What you thought was over was never truly over, because heaven doesn't measure love by time or distance. Heaven only sees impact, that moment when one soul recognizes the echo of another. You are someone's echo. You still are, and the light you once brought into their life, it never dimmed. It just changed form. Now it's a prayer, a poem, a hope. You don't need to return for this love to mean something, because some loves are born only to transform you from within, and that they have already done. And now, maybe it's your turn. Your existence, your memory, your soul, that itself was the miracle, and that was always enough. You too have learned to walk through your own fire. You too were wounded, lost, abandoned. Perhaps that's why this message has come to you today, not as a punishment, but as a restoration. What if the love you once gave unknowingly was actually your soul's way of quietly healing someone else? And today, heaven returns that very love to you, wrapped in truth, wrapped in tenderness, woven in divine timing. You haven't lost anything. You merely paused from a connection so sacred it could not be lived in haste. And now, it is gently waking again, not for answers, but perhaps for closure, or maybe a new beginning. You don't need to fix anything. No explanations are required. Just breathe and feel this moment. Let it pass through you, like wind through ancient trees, softly, sacredly, with trust. This message isn't about going back, but about understanding more deeply the path ahead. Because this love, this bond, was never ordinary. It was written in the language of souls, a language beyond words, a language that can only be felt. And even if your paths now diverge, that sacredness has no end. It is still alive, in every heartbeat, every memory, every silence. Now you know why these words reached you today, not a moment sooner, not later. Because divine timing doesn't follow clocks or calendars, it follows the heart's readiness. And heaven waited patiently, knowing the day would come, when your soul would be ready to hold the weight of this entire truth. That moment is now. You are not who you were 5 years ago, and neither are they. Time, waiting, and silence have shaped you both. But while the world moved on, faces came and went. Something within both of you remained, unwritten but unbroken. Their love never demanded your presence. It simply honored your existence. Can you feel how rare that is? Can you understand the grace of a love that held you in reverence even in your absence? Not for a fleeting version of you, but for your entire being. To hold space in one's heart for 5 years without complaint, without claim, only with devotion. Only something sacred could do that. They remembered your light, when forgetting would have been easier. And you, perhaps unknowingly, chose life. So that when this message finally reached you, you could feel it with your whole heart. This is not coincidence. This is love, divine love. There are no answers needed now, no promises, no conversations, just this truth. That the soul once joined still echoes, peacefully, within each other. They imagined, countless times, what they would say to you if ever given the chance. But every time they repeated those words in their mind, none of them ever felt enough. Not big enough, not true enough, not gentle enough to hold everything their heart carried. And so, they said nothing. Not out of pride, but out of respect. Because for them, Silence wasn't distance. It was a prayer. A silence that became a way to protect this bond, without the weight of unspoken expectations or misunderstood intentions. Because the truth is, some loves don't need to be spoken. They simply are. In a glance that never happened, in a word that was never said, in a dream that came without invitation. And that's the kind of love they still hold within. You may think you left them long ago, but the truth is, you never really did. You became part of their memories, part of their joys, when they quietly wished you could see them, and part of their sorrows, when your absence became a wound that never fully healed. And still, they loved you. Not because you earned it, but because their soul recognized something eternal in yours. It doesn't make logical sense, but it is true. And now, you feel it too, don't you? Maybe you've always felt it, just never had words for it. Because the human mind often rejects what the soul already knows. It says, impossible, too much. But what you're feeling now, that pull, that soft ache, that slow blooming of memories, it's your soul responding to its own reflection. This is not an invitation to return to the past. It's a calling to remember the truth buried beneath it. It's not sentimentality. It's the echo of the soul. You never set out to leave an imprint on someone's life. You were simply being. And your being touched someone's soul so deeply that imprint is still alive. Can you understand the power of that? To awaken something in another just by being your natural self. Something that lives within them for years. You became a part of their spiritual DNA, in their healing, in their choices, in their transformation. They learned courage from you, humility, tenderness. And yes, they still carry the ache of all that was left unsaid, unresolved, but also gratitude, deep, boundless gratitude. Because through you, they experienced a love that didn't fit into any frame, a love that changed everything. And maybe you're wondering, why is this message coming so deeply right now? Because it's not here to reopen a door, but to honor a chapter that was once written in your name. This story isn't about reopening old wounds. It's about honoring the mark they left behind, a mark that is no longer a lack, but a testament to love. You were never meant to forget. You were meant to heal. And healing doesn't mean erasing what was beautiful. It means carrying it forward with clarity, with grace, with peace. That's exactly what they did. For you. For 5 years. Quietly, reverently. Under every sunset, they remembered you, imagined maybe you stood under the same sky too. In the darkest nights, they held the memory of you like a lantern, not to torment themselves, but to remind their soul that something once touched them with unshakable truth. And if they never speak your name again, it doesn't mean they stopped loving you. It means their love has grown so vast, so free, it no longer needs a name. That's the kind of love heaven recognizes, the kind angels guard. This connection was never ordinary. You felt it too, maybe for a fleeting moment, maybe in that quiet inner space where only the soul speaks. And now, the angels want you to know. You weren't wrong. Your feeling wasn't a fantasy. What the two of you shared, it was real. It was sacred. Some soul contracts aren't fulfilled the way we wish in this lifetime. Some come to awaken us, not to stay, not to bind, but to open. Still, even those incomplete bonds change us. They make us better. Lately, you've been searching for something, haven't you? Maybe you didn't have a name for it, just a sense that something was missing, something just out of reach. This is it. This message, this remembrance, that love you once left in someone's soul, it's calling you back today. Not to fix the past, but to fully feel the present, to reclaim the part of you you left with them, and the love they have guarded for you all these years. It's time to return it now. They don't need explanations. They don't need apologies. Their soul already knows yours. What they've always wanted, and perhaps now your soul is ready to give, is simple truth. To be seen, to be remembered, to be recognized. Just as two souls quietly recognize each other when words fall short. Even if you never speak to them again, even if this message is the only dialogue between you, it is still enough. Because the soul only needs a single moment, a moment of being heard, of being seen, and this is that moment. The soul recognition between you two was enough, because energy doesn't lie, love doesn't vanish, and the heart never forgets what the soul once deemed sacred. If tears are streaming down your face as you read this, let them fall. They are not weakness, but the unlocking of a door that has long been closed inside. And this door opens towards healing, not just for them, but for you as well. This message is not an invitation to return to the past. It is a light cast into the shadows where confusion had settled. It is an invitation to freedom. You are now free to remember without pain, to love without expectation, to carry this connection not as a burden, but as a blessing. This is what the angels want, for you to know. You are a blessing, even in your absence, even in your silence. You were a divine intervention in someone's life. And now, you have the chance to become that for your own life. Now you can reclaim that part of you that once hid in hesitation, doubt, or guilt. This is the gift of remembrance. This is the power of love, the kind that remains even without ownership. If your heart just skipped a beat, if your palms feel warm, or your throat tightens unexpectedly, know this. Your soul is awakening. Awakening to that sacred experience you once shared. You don't need to decide anything now. Just feel it. Let it soften you. Let it bring tenderness. Let it honor the hidden threads that shaped who you are. Life moves quickly. We forget. We protect ourselves. But today, something has happened. Something that broke through the layers. Something holy. Something eternal. The love that was never lost was only waiting for the heart to quiet so it could be heard again. Now that you've remembered it, now that you've made space for it in your heart, healing can begin. Without a single word, without any contact, only truth, only love, only light. They're not reading these words with you, but on some level, their soul knows you've received this message. That's how spiritual connections work. They exist beyond time and space. And if you ever felt like someone was thinking of you for no reason at all, now you know why. because they were, because you were, because you still are. Even if the eyes never meet again, even if no words are spoken, souls know, and that is enough. This love is no longer just a story. It's an energy that still lives within you both. This is not about destiny. It's simply about bowing your head for a moment and softly whispering, "I remember you." That's all they ever wanted to know. That what was between you mattered. That it wasn't a beautiful illusion, but a divine truth. And now, you have given them that gift, even if only through this moment. So, I say this one last time, with as much tenderness and love as possible, this message is not for guilt. It is for healing. It is about the love that doesn't know how to stop, that stays with you through time. It is about that silent miracle, when someone remembers you without seeing you, without asking, yet with complete truth. If your heart feels this truth, if somewhere deep inside you a yes is rising, that is your sign. Not just for them, but for you as well. If this love, this message, this moment has awakened something sacred within you, then write 222 in the comments. Because the angels are watching. The soul that has waited for years is now listening. And your healing has already begun. For both of you. Love is never lost. It only waits for the moment, when the soul is ready to feel it again. If your soul resonates with this message, write 222 in the comments. Because healing begins the moment love is remembered, in silence, in the soul, in truth.